we have from Team Beef for the first time ever on Q2CBR Gamer, we have Mark and Baggy from Team Beef. What's up, fellas? Grant, I love your shirt, dude. I absolutely love it. Is Grant frozen? I think he's frozen. He's just super stoic. Mark, what's up with Grant?
He seems to be frozen. Or maybe I don't know.
I think he might be stage fright. Maybe he's just frightened. He's a little nervous.
He's just scared. Yeah.
I'm not sure.
But if you're gonna get frozen, look at the epic pose he's in. He's got the kick-ass Team Beef shirt on with the Doom hat, and the freaking Postal dude hanging out right next to him on his desk. That is epic.
Oh man!
Miles says the Baggy blink once if you're in trouble.
Oh no!
Oh man, too funny. Mark, thanks for coming on, hanging out and chatting with us tonight, and welcome to the show for the first time, man.
Yeah, thank you for inviting us. Now I'm here alone. Oh my god!
Yeah. It's okay. You planned it this way. Yeah, you planned it this way. Now you get the epic spotlight of being, the voice of Team Beef for this segment on the show. And yeah, man, welcome to the show. And do you want to tell everybody a little bit about yourself real quick, and like maybe what you do with Team Beef?
Yeah. So at Team Beef, I'm kind of the creative lead. At Team Beef, it's a small team, 3 guys, me, Dr. Beef, and Baggy. We all saw 4-second freezing. Oh,
he's back. He's back.
And
what happened to as soon as I hit connect, my Starlink was like, no way, you guys can talk about
that,
man. We're not allowing that.
Well, thanks for coming, Grant. We're just talking to Mark a little bit. I just wanted him to introduce himself to the audience and and then tell a little bit about what he does with Team Beef. And Mark, you're from Germany, and you're calling in late tonight, and so you do a lot of the creative, like you. So like for you, like when Team Beef decides to work on a game, it's you who kind of like deep dives into that game, even in the flat version of that game, to figure out how you want to change things, or how you want to, how you're going to do the conversion for VR. So, let's talk about like for Wrath. You have gone in and played it 6 ways from Sunday, right? On the flat version.
Yeah. So that's basically like going into it, knowing the game inside out. We're all playing the games, but that's my responsibility.
It's cool, man. I love it. It's such a cool and integral part of the process, because before you can get to day one of development, you have to have a plan. You have to have, you have to know the game that you're going to be converting. Then you have to work together on a path of how you want to do it. And Grant, why don't you kind of introduce yourself to the audience, tell them, and tell everybody a little bit about you and what you do with Team Beef.
Yeah, so Team Beef. A bit of everything. Really, we are at heart like a modding team. I met Dr. Beef 10 years ago, back in some forums. We were actually met because we were trying to replace the screen on a Oculus DK1 with a higher res version. We were already trying to mod it there, and I just met this weird guy online. The weird, you won't watch this guy. I was just this guy's really clever, cool, and we had to change the firmware. And then it just kind of went from there that Simon Dr. Beef just gets really into the technical level, brings things in, and it started with Quake on the Gear VR. Then we sort of had a break, and then we were doing sort of injection drivers back in the day, Stereo Perception. We did a load of stuff for that. But then when Quest came out, we were like, okay, this is our thing, this is our level, because you can fit a lot of older games onto that old headset. So we started off with Lambda 1 VR, which is Half-Life 1 in VR. And I started off just sort of helping in the background, and then as things go on, I'm a programmer, so a developer. We've done a lot of projects there since. I think we're up to how many ports now, Bungs? 10, 11, 12, I'm not sure. all the Quakes 1 to 4, Doom 3, something like that. But yeah, so I just wear a lot of hats within Team Beef, doing a lot of development, also helping Bumser with design, obviously talking with you guys, getting things done.
That's awesome.
It keeps me busy.
So you guys have been the same boat with me. Like, we just haven't been able to say anything for a long, long time. And this has probably been the most agonizing, because me and Grant talk all the time, and we're like, it's going to leak anytime. We've been doing this for how many months now, and like, it's going to leak anytime, right? Like, we just were like, oh man, you're checking every day if you're going to see a leak somewhere.
It was like sleepless nights too, especially leading up to the end, right, to the showcase. It was like, if it's going to leak, it's going to leak now. And now I can't sleep because I need to make sure that if it does leak, we got to stop it or catch it.
I think people would be interested in how how these things happen, right? Like, how these things come about. And you guys did have contact with Running with Scissors before we got together, so you were already talking, but it just never kind of like came to any fruition. And that was one of the issues, right? With Team Beef, with any modder trying to talk to the actual IP holder of how do we do a business thing here where we do something, and just talk a little bit about that first in that process early on before we came on.
Yeah, absolutely. And so on our Discord, ever since we started doing more and more ports, we have a game suggestions channel, which lots of people. Postal 2 came up all the time, and we're our rule was, because we do what we did before, sort of open source community, free released mods all the time. We were that just doesn't exist. We can do anything. But our fans and Running with Scissors fans were just wanted it so much that some of people actually got in contact with Mike J and the team over there, and they were like, this is Team Beef, you should talk to them, put us in contact. And the one thing I'll say about Running with Scissors right from the start is those guys are so open to talk to modders and things like that. I don't think any of this would have happened if we didn't have those initial discussions. They were we definitely want this, how does it get done? And then they're we talk about the technicals, and it was a game we always wanted to do, but absolutely at that time it just didn't fit where we were, because we were we're a mod team, how do we release something for free? How does that benefit you guys? How is this something that's good for both? And it kind of died away, let's know, have a think about it. And I think we all went away pretty disappointed that could have happened. A few months later, we got the partnership with Flat to VR, and sort of Wrath started to happen. And I think this is really the testament to what Flat to VR can bring to the VR space, which is exactly connecting up IP holders and teams, passionate communities that want these things to happen. As I said, Mike and Vince were great and really that, but I wouldn't blame us if they didn't trust us, a small team, to pull off such a big task. But when we had the partnership with you guys, I think we were at Gamescom together, Eric, and I was like, did I ever tell you about this? This would happen. Just got in the room, and we were so let's get in contact with Mike. And yeah, it sort of all went from there. There was a lot of steps, and we're really thankful for our community for doing that first initial reaching out. Whether it would have happened without that, maybe, but maybe not. So that was always great. But it's, to me, really a testament of how a really passionate community can really get behind a project and actually propelled it to the point it does become a reality. And secondly is how this partnership between Team Beef and Flat to VR is just perfect for this type of project, this type of game, and what you guys can help us with, allowing us the sort of runway to get into these things.
The way this came about was kind of crazy. It was quick. It was fast. It was Gamescom. We had, we were there. We had our booth there. You were there. That's the first time we had met in person, and we were just sitting there in the meeting room, and you're like, oh, did I ever tell you that I had met, we had talked to Mike and Vince about, possibly doing something, and just never materialized. And I'm like, no, you didn't tell me that. I'm like, message them right now. So literally, at the meeting table in the booth, you messaged them, and then we had a little email thing going back and forth with them, literally right in the booth. They got back to you almost right away, and then literally we scheduled a voice call for an hour later in the meeting room, and all of us just got on a quick voice call, and we were pretty much agreed in least in terms at that point that we were going to do Postal 2. They were like, we're on board. If we can make this happen, they're like, let's look into the details a little bit more. But if you guys can do what you say you can do, we're on board to do this. So that's how quickly that happened. Like within a couple of hours, we at least had a path to where we could do that. Now it takes months and months and months of things happening afterwards. But that initial like, yeah, we should do this together happened pretty fast.
Yeah, the conversation literally was like an hour and then 6 months of secrecy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what it was like too. It was like every day, like, when do we announce this? Or like, when should we announce this? Should we announce it immediately? And then we're like, no. And then, finally we were like, okay, let's hold on to it till right before GDC, which is next week. And then, Jamie then, I've been talking to Jamie Feltham about the showcase, and I'm like, this is perfect. This is the perfect announcement for the showcase. And, then we were able to put up that kick-ass trailer. And guys, I think maybe, Todd, is it time? Should we run that trailer?
Yeah, let's do it.
Not even a trailer.
Yeah.
It's like a mini story. It's like a mini story.
It's like a little mini movie. Yeah, exactly.
It makes me all warm and fuzzy.
How violent is too violent when it comes to video games?
Controversial computer game.
The original game was banned in more than 10 countries.
You know what it means to go postal? Postal.
Postal.
Postal?
Very controversial video game.
Man, this shit is boring.
We wanted to make a game that was no nonsense, run around, shoot, and have fun.
Now this is more like it.
To introduce Quest 3.
It's a first-person adventure, but along the way, anything is possible.
This game would be great in VR. I should start a petition. Father, if I kill people in VR, do I go to hell? When you're done sleeping, sign here. You look like someone with strong opinions. Now that gives me an idea. I'm only asking for a signature. What could go wrong? Fuck. Care to sign? Looks like I'm gonna have to spice things up to get some signatures. I'll, come back later. Damn, still short. Guess I gotta call in some backup.
Eric Masher, COO, Flat to VR Studios.
Eric, remember that bar in Tijuana? You owe me. Grab a pen and shovel. We've got work to do.
Nice.
Mike, Vince, sign my petition?
Yeah, what's the petition for?
Postal 2 in VR.
Oh my God, we've been waiting forever for this shit. Let's go.
Excellent, man.
Signed, let's go.
We're doing this.
I love the trailer, man. It's such a kick-ass trailer. So good. I'll say Carl Wonderbar does a lot of our trailers at Flat VR Studios, and Grant Mark killed it with that trailer. Like, and that trailer took forever to get figured out. Like, forever.
Yeah.
The thing is about the trailer, there's only one petition that I think is more important than what was in there, which is, when does Eric get his Oscar for that performance in there?
Oh my God, they've already got memes. They already got like gifs of me with the eyebrow raise, that. And I'm like, oh shit. Yeah, it was super cool. It was a lot of fun, and Mike and Vince were a blast. We shot so much stuff that day, and
that bit with the phone call, like, that was originally like just a blank thing, and like was added very like relatively late into the process, and like it was just like a 5-minute thing, and like me and Carl saw at the time Wonderbar, and we were like, we don't know, and Carl was like, oh, this is like that. As soon as I saw it, like, it was so perfect. I've probably seen the trailer in triple digits now, and sometimes now when I'm watching that, I just forward it to that bit. Like, it never fails if I've had a bad day to just make me smile or laugh.
It's too funny. It was literally, that's exactly how it happened too. Carl Wonderbar and Grant and I were in a meeting talking about the trailer, and we kept getting hung up on that spot where it goes to black screen, where, you know, the Postal dude, which shout out to Rick, who does the voice for the Postal dude. He did the original voice, and, you know, he, you know, worked with Running with Scissors forever, and he was really super kind enough to record a whole bunch of new stuff for us. But at that point, you know, he calls in, and then we're like, what do we do here? We have this black screen where, and I did the audio, so you heard me, but it was just black screen. So you heard my voice pick up the phone, and you heard me answer and, you know, and say everything I said. But it was just black screen, and we're like, it's so long of a black screen that we need something here. And we thought about a couple of different ways to shoot it. And we're just sitting in the meeting, and I'm like, look, guys, give me 5 minutes. I'm like, I'll just record a whole bunch on my desk here. And I went 5 minutes. I had like probably 10 or 15 shots, and I sent them both to Baggy and Wonderbar, and literally by, I don't know, the next day it was done. It was finalized, and this was like 3 or 4 days before the showcase.
But there's one good question that Big Spike asked in the chat. I see it. What happened? What happened in the bar?
Oh, what happened in Tijuana?
What happened in the bar? Yeah?
Oh yeah, right. Big Mike.
Do we have a backstory for that? A lore? Do we have a lore?
We were gonna, at one point we were talking about, Carl had an idea. He's like, is there any way we could get a picture of like Eric with his arm around the Postal dude wearing like a sombrero? Like I was sitting in the bar with the Postal dude. This is the ideas that we're trying to come up with. I mean, you know, stupid stuff, trying to figure stuff out, you know, making these trailers. We wanted to make sure that the trailer that we did kind of like reflected what the game is going to be about, right? Which is going to be about fun and, you know, carnage and, you know, the whole Postal, you know, universe that Mike and Vince have put together is all about doing cool, funny, wacky stuff and like not taking yourself too seriously. And that's what we wanted for the trailer. Right? And Mark and Grant, if you want to talk a little bit about, like, you know, we can't say a whole bunch about what Postal is going to be yet. You know, we're still in process of doing.
Is there any leaky type of information? Like, I know Big Spike has been all over me on Discord. I think Baggy.
Everybody wants to know if you're going to be able to
comments, because I've been teasing more information's coming. Stay tuned. I didn't say when, but it's coming.
Like we've seen all the chat on the new Discord and things like that. Like everyone wants to know how you're going to pee in VR and stuff like that. The things that, like, I would say is, both from our experience before, this is the commercial answer, both from our experience before, like, especially in VR, you think in some ways it's actually freeing, where it's the opposite. You have so little to work with the controllers. It is one of those things where the restrictions actually breed creativity. And if anyone's ever played any of our previous ports, I'll take Jedi Knight for an example. Like, absolutely, we're in a similar position where we had tons of guns, things like this. Like, there's weapon wheels going on. We had force powers, which were gestured to your hand, where you can fly people away. You can pick them up and strangle them and control them in the air. So, like, anything you guys are thinking about, like, in terms of, like, this needs to be a physical action, that's absolutely going to be there. Absolutely no way do we make a Postal game where something is a button press, because
that's what everyone wants to hear, right?
Yeah,
you won't be pushing a button to take a leak. That won't happen.
Exactly. And peeing will be exactly as you expected. You will go into the toilet, put down the toilet seat, sit down, and pee like you were taught to. That's what you want, huh? No?
Yeah. I mean,
I don't think that's what they want. No, I don't think that's what they want.
This could be the biggest thing. This could be the biggest thing ever. Like, this could be like the new thing where, you know, everybody's going to the bathroom in VR.
There's so much in Postal. I mean, the peeing is great, but there's also just so much about it on top of that. Like, even like simple things, right? You walk around with matches all the time. So, like, just having a matchbox where you pull out a match, you strike it, you're throwing it.
Margaret, it really is kind of like the perfect game for VR, right? Because there's so many the interactions and the way that you can play Postal. And that's why I think so many people have been asking RWS for so long to make it. I mean, because I've talked to Mike and I've talked to Vince, and like, people have been asking for Postal 2 VR forever. You know what I mean? And the reason they ask is because you can see where that would work, and like, you know, where it would be, a really good way to do it. So, Grant, your Starlink went down again.
They really want to censor me. Typical Postal.
That's what it is. It's probably the censors. Like, oh, you can't talk about Postal online.
Yeah, he's talking about peeing too much. Cut him off.
Todd, do we have anybody else in the wings waiting?
We do.
Who do we got? Damn. Oh, okay. How's it going, man?
Mike.
What up? How you guys doing?
I'm running with scissors.
Yeah, I'm here. I was told I was not going to be here with Grant and Mark because they're supposed to be working. So if they don't leave, I'm out. We got a tight
sorry, Mike J.
Do you understand how many questions I'm already getting about every little thing about this game? And I'm like, whoa.
Slow down.
We just announced it.
I saw your comments on launch on the trailer day. Like, come on, like it's been announced for like 15 minutes, guys. Give us a fucking break.
Very cool. Yeah, Mike, it was. Thank you for coming in, man. Thank you for being here tonight. We appreciate you. We Grant and I were, and Mark and I were talking about kind of the whole genesis of how this came to be. We were just talking about like a little bit like Gamescom, and that they had talked to you at one point, and you just couldn't figure out like how to make everything work officially, and basically just a phone call, right? Just a phone call, and you get a good feeling for people, and that's how those things happen sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, it's as people know, and we talked about this at length. We are pretty big VR fans ourselves. We had worked on a VR title back in the day. It never saw the light of day, and the concept of Postal 2 VR has always been thrown around, and we even had some in-house stuff we were tinkering with. But for us, it's not what we do, and it's a big undertaking, and it requires actual professionals. So
people who know what they're doing.
Yeah. VR development is very, very complicated. I'm sure people who tinker in just gaming in VR actually see the issue, right? Like, not everybody has VR legs. I don't have VR legs, so actual development is another level of VR legs. So.
It is, and and that's a lot of places where we can come in as a studio and kind of help out, because that's what we specialize in. And you guys specialize in making kick-ass console PC games, and then we can come in and be the other half of that. Partnering up with Team Beef to do that. Todd, Mike, I think we got somebody else here finally. Is that Desi? What's up, Vince? How you doing, man?
I just woke up out of a coma. I had my alarm set for 7 o'clock, and then I see the text. You said, "Well, you guys come on at 7." I said, "All right." I said, "But all good." It's brutal outside. The winds are heavy. It's pouring rain. What the hell can I tell you, man?
It's a good time for you to come on a podcast and just hang out.
That's right. Listen,
talk some Postal.
Postal 2 VR, the world will never be the same. Vince,
just want to say thank you for coming on. I know you haven't been feeling well, and you're recovering from a bad cold, and but thank you both for coming on tonight. And I mean the announcement went super well, and then it has kind of gone viral. Like you guys put a Twitter post up. It has. I don't know what did it end up having, Mike. It had so many views on it of the trailer.
A couple 100,000 views.
100,000, man, it's crazy. The excitement, people wanting to support, going out and wish listing. It's been incredibly crazy already. You guys have probably one of the coolest communities of fans.
Yeah, we really are blessed, and I most of my day, early morning, around the clock, is spent communicating with fans, and I got to tell you, it's one of those things where it's natural. We have a relationship that you can't buy. And I was talking with somebody yesterday. They're in another studio, and they want to come out with a game, and they were asking, "Oh, well, how'd you build your community? How do we do that?" And I'm like, "Well, first of all, you're not, you gotta, I don't know, it's a personality thing. It's 28 years in the making. You know what I'm saying? This is, I've done thousands of interviews on every medium you could imagine, around the world. So over time, But I really do believe that the key is every day. Well, now it's mostly social media, some email, sometimes phone. I did a Cameo thing earlier tonight, and you got to respond. You know, it's, and then of course we initiate, over the years, we initiate, which is different than a lot of people do, but it's not hard, but it's just, you got to also, it's kind of like, you can't stop a river from flowing. You know what I'm saying? You just can't stop a river from flowing. All kidding aside, it's the greatest gift is giving. And we give to our fans, and our fans give love back. In the past 24 hours, I knew there would be some people saying, well, I don't have a VR, or I'm going to, maybe I'll, you always get the typical thing based on age. I can't afford it now, when I can, blah, blah, blah. I'm amazed at how many people, and on this is different mediums, from LinkedIn to X, whatever, and people saying, fuck it, I'm now going to get VR. I don't have, I am going to get VR.
Yeah, and we've got it too, like literally, like almost right away. People are like, I've been thinking about getting a VR headset. I didn't want to do it, but now I like Postal 2 VR is coming. I'm getting a headset, and this will be a headset seller. It will.
This might sound a little personal. I got a friggin' prostrate problem, right? I'm a little older.
I have a prostate problem, so it is, and even it's clearly a running with scissors.
That's what it is. It's got to be a running with scissors thing.
I'm the one in this chat that had surgery for it. So,
damn.
I got no surgery. I just got I go see the lady down at Lucky Ho massage parlor, and I get my surgery.
Oh man!
By the way, Jay, today I went and amazing. I mean, a new spot I found. I mean, I wasn't even ready for it. I was still got down for the complete legit experience. Like the Postal dude, you just never know what's going to come around the corner.
You never know.
You never know. Hell yeah! All right, so can we get something into Grant? If you're still watching, we got to do something with prostate.
Something with the prostate in the game.
The Postal 2 VR game.
We'll update the STD he gets to just having prostate issues, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Felix wants to know if Pedro has a prostate issue also.
Pedro's a little young to have prostate issues.
25 years old. I hope to God, my God, a prostate problem.
The Great Dreamer says Desi gets the happy ending.
Yeah. You guys are younger. You're all younger than me. When you got to get up in the middle of the night and take a leak, or 2 times, when you go 5 times, some nights I've had 5 times.
My God.
This is why. Why would I want to make Postal 2 in VR? That's my answer.
There it is. Now you can get up in VR and pee in Postal 2 in VR.
Actually, I just posted about it on Reddit, and one of the first responses was, "I'm actually a huge fan of Postal 2, but why?" But why? I was like, I don't think you're actually a true fan if you're asking why. Right. He's like, no, I love Postal 2, blah, 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 but the graphics are old. There's no real reason to be up in people's faces. I just don't get it. And I was like, well, maybe you need to answer your own question then, because clearly we're not the only ones that want this. I mean, I see the messages over the years, and there's a reason why. And one of the main videos that's kind of been brought back in our TikTok, and people are commenting on it and saying it aged like milk. Something like last April, I made a video, and it's got something like 80,000 views now, where I was like, Postal 2 VR is not happening. Like, we're not making it. And I didn't say it can't happen. I just said we're not going to make it unless there's an easy button for this. It's not happening. And I'm not saying that it's easy for Grant and the guys, but having a VR developer and a publisher is kind of an easy button for us, right? So I'm like, it didn't age like milk, guys. Like last April, this was literally not fucking happening.
Right.
Last August, this wasn't fucking happening. Okay. This is happening now, and we're announcing it now. So, be happy it's happening. Don't don't go back in the past because there's a million things we said aren't going to happen. Who fucking knows? Maybe they'll happen. You know,
if you're not a VR studio, and you guys are not, you're focusing on what you focus on, which is the Postal universe, and figuring out what your next steps are for RWS. You have to have a whole division that just works on VR to know.
And
otherwise, you make a shitty VR game, and you don't want to do that.
Right, and it's not even just having a VR division, right? Like, there's a grand scope here for VR, right? It's not like you're making it for Steam VR. Like, that would be a waste of time, right? You have to make it for as much as possible, and that's not even something we can consider. Okay, so it's not just like, did we want it or did we not want it? You know, it's like, of course we want it. We want Postal 2 everywhere. We want to be like the joke, you know, that is, what is it, Oblivion? You know, like, we want to just keep coming out with Postal 2 in perpetuity for the next century, okay? I don't care where it comes out. Like, yeah, are we milking it? Sure. We fucking sell the game for $1. Are we? I mean, really, like, I wouldn't consider that milking it too hard. But yeah, it's our bread and butter. It's our biggest game, and it's the game that's stood the test of time versus like a lot of other big games that came out in that same year. And
Postal has really, it's had a very interesting history. We could discuss it another time. You know, yes, it's domestic, and yes, it's in Canada and Europe, but even the Middle East and Africa and Russia and Japan and Korea and China. So, you know, in the course of a day, it's like, whoa, and that's just a great experience, you know. And one of the things when people would say, you know, I've been doing this about 40-something years, and people ask like, oh, like, what are the key ingredients to making a hit? I'm like, what the fuck? If I had the key ingredients to making a hit, you know what I mean? This is the entertainment industry. How can you predict what people will like? But the best case is to invigorate people, to do something that creates a feeling. You see, because like music is the international kiss. You know, it doesn't matter where you are, what language. Music is this you know, all you need is love kind of thing. Well, the right game. How is it that somebody could be in the Ukraine or Georgia or Moscow or you know, Beijing, all the way to Mexico City? You know, keep going around, and they're all enjoying the same experience. That's wild. One of the ones I love is every now and then, well, we used to get it more with snail mail, but people will write and say, oh man, you know, I don't know how to tell you this, but I've been playing Postal for a while, and I hacked it, you know, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. But you know what? I just bought it because I started playing again. And
wow.
Now I'm older and I have a job. And they buy it. They literally have bought it 10 years after they stole it.
Our third partner, actually, our director of development, didn't purchase Postal 2 to start. He pirated Postal 2 to start.
Oh my god!
I mean, like, if I had to guess, like, everybody on our team pirated Postal 2 to start. I mean, they all come from the community, and like, we're not sitting here telling you to pirate games. I mean, but we do say out loud, like, you know, there are times in life when shit's hard and you got to do what you got to do. But if you like something, support it later on. Support it when you can. You know, I mean, you can't fight something that doesn't exist, right? Like, it's fighting an ideology, right? Like, but you can embrace that community and show them that it took a lot of money and it took a lot of effort. When we get walk-ins at our office, even though our studio is not really like it's not really a development studio. You know, we're a remote dev studio online, and we have our office where we do shipping and stuff, and it's, our address is public. It's not like we're hiding, and people stop in every once in a while, just look at and see the team or get a studio walkthrough, and I'm like, here you go.
Here's where all the magic happens.
This is where the magic happens.
Wall, here's the other wall. There's all the shipping stuff. That's where Vince jerks off, and this is where I jerk off.
You know, when you're at these events, it's always cool to see all the cosplayers. You see people dressed as the Postal Dude. It's phenomenal. That's fantastic. And, you know, whatever merch we bring, we wear, we display. But I'm trying to figure out how we bring a toilet and and show the bidet.
We tried. When we set up the PAX booth a couple years ago, the thing we wanted to do was to have, because the main image from Postal 4 is like the iconic image of the dude on the toilet, which is from The Big Lebowski, and we wanted to have like a mobile toilet in front of that people could take pictures with the bathrobe on, and I'm not saying it isn't possible. It's definitely possible. But when you're dealing with like setting up booths and you're working with like whoever it is, Reed Pop or whatever, like I was like, can we get a toilet like that's on a roller so we can just like roll it out and they were like, what the fuck are you asking, dude? So like last minute, it was kind of like, well, I guess we could like run to Home Depot, but toilets don't stand up on their own, right? Like they stand up because they're bolted to the fucking floor. So like you have to plan this in advance, and you have to buy one. You have it bolted to a 2x or like a massive piece of wood, and then you have to have this massive piece of wood brought out to a booth. And I'm not saying it's not impossible. It's definitely possible, but there is. There's
logistics that people just don't think
about.
There's
logistics, and there's money. Toilet logistics costs money, and the cost to bring a toilet out onto a show floor may or may not click. So we want to do it. We definitely want to do it, and we want to showcase the bidets. MikeJsBidets.com, in case you were wondering and you're in need of a new bidet.
I got one right here.
We need to bring back the Postal babes.
Yeah, somebody was in chat. Somebody in chat was asking. Did we have a super chat about that, Todd?
Oh, I don't know. Did I miss it?
I saw a super chat. Yeah, there was the Great Dreamer with a $2 super chat says, "Will you bring back Postal babes for the game?"
Well, I'd simply love to bring them back for any live events. That's first. Well, see, a lot of what from the original Postal, in terms of locations and levels and things that occur. As a kid, I set everything on fire in Brooklyn. Okay, so there's a lot of reality in Postal.
What's more of a Vince life story than it is a fictional character?
Yeah. Oh, I'm not 6'2" or whatever it is, but that's more for Eric, which is great. Now we have Eric. That's to be our, Eric is now our Postal dude.
I'll do it every day. I'll do it every day.
He's also our publisher, and he can tell us to shut the fuck up. So. No. Actually, I mean, it's not like we're super active with it. I mean, the Postal babes that I do now are sort of like more organic, right? Historically, the Postal babes were kind of forced. We wanted them in our newsletter, and we had a website for it. Now it's more organic because we have a lot bigger reach, and social media has brought the female fans closer to us. I post Postal female fans on an Instagram called Postal Babes. So it does exist. It's kind of low key. We're not like going nuts with it, but all the recent Postal Babes are not just like random girls I hired from Craigslist. They are like actually Postal fan. That was definitely a thing. Like we used to get, Craigslist would have like the modeling section where we'd be like looking for models, and we'd hire women to be Postal Babes for the website. And I mean, hilarious. At the end of the day, a lot of them were like friends of mine, like just girls I knew. But now all the ones I posted recently are actual fans, which I think brings a little more authenticity to it, right? Like,
yeah, we started a cosplay chat in the Discord server, and there's tons of people that have been posting cosplay pictures of their version of cosplay.
Women. There's a bunch of women that have cosplayed as the Postal, which is great. It's great.
I love the female fans of Postal 2 it's not something you would think of normally, but there are tons of them.
Yeah.
Like I said, I went into the Discord the other day when we opened it up, and literally when we hit the go live button on the Discord, hundreds of people flooded in there, and I went into a live chat just to chat with some of the people and welcome them in. There was probably 5 or 6 of them were women, and I'm like, wow, that's really super cool to see.
Yeah, and I think they've always been there. I think years ago they did more like anonymously, like they weren't very outward about it, and they are now, and that's great. I mean, the community is very diverse, and they all are, for the most part, super welcoming of each other, and it's good. It is very good.
There's a running theme from the communications from the fans that I get. It's about thank you. I've been feeling down. I have a hard time with my parents. I had a drug problem. I dropped out of college. And we are we're definitely not professional psychologists. But what I always tell people is, I'm a little older. My life has been filled, just like the Postal dudes, up and down. Okay, we got the lows are lowered and the highs are high, and when it first started happening, I was like, oh, this is crazy, and you kind of go with it, and then you see it repeats itself, and it repeats itself, and it's I would say several a week. I couldn't even give you the percentage, but it doesn't matter. People thank us because it got them through a hard time. When you reflect real life, you touch people. And the fact that we've been able, and it sounds like we've been able to help so many people, that's an amazing thing, and it's fantastic. And I really do believe, Jay and I talked about this years ago, long before VR became popular like it is now. The fantasy was, could you imagine just having an opportunity to be doing this in a game? Like to really take on because, we used to have an old saying, violence belongs in games, not on the streets. Okay? And not only for the clear moral reason and health reason, but that's how life is. So it's just such and I'm telling you, you're going to see, guys, you're going to see when Postal 2 VR comes out, you are going to see people. There will be an opportunity, an avenue for self-help, if that makes sense. Because you see, when a gamer and their machine, that's the world. You know what I'm saying? Yep. It's pure honest at that point. Nobody's judging you. I mean, look at the power of the internet. The whole remember when people were getting crazy and the anonymous power, because people say and do things online that they never would say in person. But in Postal, we give you the chance to play it out. And I think, and that goes kind of back to how'd you build your community? Real life. I mean, that, and that's something you can't make up. You know what I mean? It's like, no matter how much you want to be Harry Potter, you ain't fucking Harry Potter. Okay? That's the bottom line. It's not happening, no matter how much you want to, well, it's just getting impossible. You want to play a lead character in Call of Duty or Assassin's Creed or whatever. It ain't happening, whereas in Postal, there's so many little things. We used to, at one point, the media was on our case. This is a long time ago, in jail with the Got Milk shirt like you have on. They were like, we don't get it. They made this game, and the mission is to get milk. And then the journalist, or whatever you want to call him, would write this whole thing about how stupid it was to have a video game about getting milk. Well, what's stupid, motherfucker, is you're a jerk off and you have no fucking clue about real life. Okay? But we're not trying to do anything other than, who was it? Remember a long time ago, Jay, somebody had said something about, it was kind of like Seinfeld.
Yeah, it's a game about nothing.
Postal,
right.
It was like Seinfeld.
Yeah, people ask me all the time, what is your game about? And I'm like, it's actually a game about nothing.
That's a great comparison, actually.
Well, and I think that's one of the biggest reasons why the Postal Dude doesn't really have a name, right? Because it's everybody. You are the Postal Dude. Like, you can be the Postal Dude, right? Like, it's everybody's.
It's everybody, and women included. And when I first did it, I don't remember back then the names, but games had names. It's just the way it was. And I was like, we're not naming the dude. We're not. This is the Postal Dude. Period. And of course, it felt right. It sounded right. I had no idea how right that decision would turn out to be. But
definitely the right decision for sure.
Yeah, it really is. And like I was talking earlier to Grant and Mark about the game itself, and how it's played and how it's going to lend itself to VR really, really well. And one of the things that we, as a studio, we were like, okay, we're doing this. We're super excited to be doing this. But we're ready for it. Like, we're ready for whatever, because you never know with Postal 2, and you guys have gone through this over the years. Like, you were there when it originally came out. The first Postal, you've been through all the things. We haven't, and then we assumed, or we're ready for. We knew we were going to get a ton of good, but we knew with good could come controversy and bad, and we were ready for it. But we were all fucking in for it. Like, we didn't care. Like, we were like, we are going to own this. We're doing this. We love this game. We want it. We want to express it in VR, and we were ready. But I got to tell you, we have looked. There is almost no sentiment of like people being pissed off or people being upset or people being like, how dare you bring Postal to VR? And like, so I think a lot of that like controversy maybe that happened in earlier where people just were so outraged by it has gone away to the point where it's more just that we're bringing back this cool nostalgia feeling.
I mean, mostly.
Yeah. Well, you're going to get people. Yeah, we have a couple. Like there's a couple.
Yeah, but we had meetings about.
There's a couple countries, okay, but that's besides the point, right?
That's true.
Well,
but we had meetings about how are we going to handle this influx of bad press. Like, people are going to shit on us because we're doing this, and it never happened.
Well, I will say that I'm glad you guys had these meetings, and then someone didn't chirp in Eric's ear and was like, we shouldn't fucking do this.
That never came up.
Yeah, because that's, what we've always been, we've been an indie studio forever, right? I mean, Postal 1 had a big publisher that basically ran for the fucking hills when the shit hit the fan. Postal 2 had the tiniest, shittiest fucking kid-touching publisher ever, and they ran for the fucking hills, and they went out of business. We've been doing this on our own for a really, really, really long time, and we've always said, like, Postal 2 has stood the test of time. If there was just somebody with some fucking balls and maybe like a little bit more money and could actually have some clout, that this could go to the fucking moon. And yeah, like, making more money is super cool. Like, I prefer to have a very popular game that a lot of people play and a lot of people like. And yeah, the money would be nice, but like, I've been doing this long enough that like, if I was in it for the money, I would have been out a long fucking time ago.
Exactly.
Okay, like, my brother makes great money. He does not have a fun job. Okay. Me and Vince don't have jobs. Okay, this is our fucking life, right? Like, our life just is fun, and as stupid as it looks, like, this is our shit. Like, I don't ship the merchandise for our store because I don't want to pay a kid to do it. I ship the merchandise for our store because I like doing it, and our fans enjoy that I'm the one doing it. So like, I keep doing it. I mean, I tell people that they're like, what do you do day to day? I'm like, well, I go in the office and do the orders. They're like, what?
I can testify.
You do the orders?
I can testify.
And I'm like, I've done the orders every fucking day since January of 2002. Okay, like, that's just something I do. Like, I'm the shipping guy. Cool. Okay, I might be one of the partners and one of the owners of the company and the mad cow in the game, but I do the orders. Like, that's just, we wear a lot of hats, but we also, like, we open the mail, we do our own bitch work for the most part, and that's okay. Like, we like it that way.
Tell us a little bit about like the Postal universe and kind of what's going on inside that with Running with Scissors.
Well, March 29th in Phoenix, Arizona, will be the premiere of the documentary, which is, Going Postal, The Legacy. And I got to tell you, it's not, because it's really a high-quality production. I'm glad to say they did a great job. They're an independent group themselves. So, the Postal universe, and that's one new big thing, right? So you've got, like, Mike's been talking about all about this merch, and its merch started out with t-shirts and then metal signs that we personally shoot, and now we got the documentary coming out, which is really, when you watch it, it's pretty mind-blowing, because the history, like one of you were just pointing out before, the industry itself has changed, the audience has changed. It was the first game that let you off pedestrians that weren't armed. It was the first game that let you set people on fire. It had a series of all these first. Well, today, the emphasis, I really do believe, is more on the entertainment than on the controversy. And that's fantastic, because it was never our intention from the very beginning I'm going to make a game that's going to get a lot of attention and controversy. I had no experience in that. It made no sense to me. I just was like, this is fucking cool. This is a game I want to play. I like to run around and shoot people. It was that simple. So the documentary really covers from the beginning of how we started the company in the first Postal up to the present. And I know you were in touch with those guys, and it's kind of like, I don't know, at some point down the road, maybe they'll have an additional version, director's cut, and maybe we could get VR in there some way. Because I know they were psyched about it. They're good guys and they get it. But yeah, so the Postal universe. I mean, you could go to the bathroom and sit on a running with scissors bidet. You could go now, and then remember there was the Postal movie by Uwe Boll. That was right. Like 2008 or 2009. 2009.
Crazy. Maybe 2008. I don't know. It was a long time
at that time, there had only been maybe 10 games that were made into movies. Okay, so thousands and thousands. Now, I mean, I don't even know how many games, but
there's tons now. Yeah.
So again, we've always been this. Riding on the sideline of the industry. We're always not on the edge. We're not even allowed to be on the edge. We're like, we're over the edge, but they like us. One of the, I tend to just have the way my brain thinks, it just flies. When the industry had the lawsuit up against California and it went before the Supreme Court, that case, which was what was it, the IGDA or something, the lobby group that represents the video game industry, they actually used Postal 2 and submitted Postal 2 as it served the flagship of the industry, but it was the title that was used to represent the First Amendment in the video game industry. I was ecstatic. I was tremendously proud of that. Super patriot, all of that good stuff. But it's like when you're looking at the Postal universe, the universe is real because it's not just a game. Oh, and now the sequel comes out, and now it's going to be on Xbox, or it's out on a new Nintendo system called Switch. Postal has integrated society in so many ways. And I would just want to add, we were talking about merch. I always think about this. 2 of the justices played the game, and there's actually an interview. It was on PBS years ago. One was Kagan, and I don't remember the other justice was, maybe it was Kennedy. So it was the one guy, one woman. They played the game. They loved it. They were laughing. This is an interview they did like on PBS, and they're laughing about it. What we did was we packaged up like a swag kit, 9 kits, sent them to the justices awesome. At DC, and at that time we were selling Postal Babe panties. Okay, so all it really ever comes down to is you'd like to have some sincerity in your life, some honesty, and yeah, that's what we do. I mean, it's like I couldn't even pretend to be who I am. You know what I'm saying? Or Mike. When I first hired Mike, no one liked him at the company. I knew he was perfect. That was the thing. That's the old story. Trust your gut. Yeah. I really believe that. And then, like what Eric said before about you guys were passionate about it, and you said, we're going to embrace this. We're not going to, kind of like mince words or skirt around. No, we're fucking, this is who we are. We're embracing it. We're holding up the fucking Postal shield, and we're going to take the arrows and the spears. But the beautiful thing this time around, and I'm so happy for all of us, is the fans are I used to call it the Postal Army. They're the ones throwing the spears at anybody in the system. We are up against the system. We've always been somewhat of I'm not anti-establishment, although people tend to put me in that category. But the Postal Army it's the greatest.
There's a couple things I want to read out here. Somebody said, Luna Knight Z said, Meta Standalone gonna get super censored. Worse than RE4. That's not going to happen. Just letting you guys know. It's not going to happen. We are not going to censor this game on Meta at all. I'm just letting you know that now. It's not what we're all about, and we're not going to do that. $5 super chat from the Great Dreamer. Will Postal Babes be all organic, or will you guys make another promo?
I don't know what that means.
Me either.
I mean, does it mean will I go on Craigslist and find new models?
Maybe. I'll do it. I'll do it for you. I'll interview all the models for you. If you need me to.
I volunteer as
I'll take one for the team. You know what I'm saying? I'll do all the dirty work too. Let's see. Somebody else back here. Christian Hunter was talking about Rick a little bit, and the voice of Postal Dude, and Rick Hunter, always the voice of the traditional games, Postal Dude, and he was super nice enough to do some lines for us for the trailer, and he will be doing lines for us for the VR version too, right?
Yeah, I'm not even addressing this mostly because people are like, why does he sound different? And it's like, well, for starters, it's fucking 30 years ago.
Yeah, he's 30 years
okay,
older.
Number one. Number two, and you guys will attest to this, he was fucking sick when I asked him to do the lines.
He was.
And I told him we were kind of in a hurry, so as soon as he got over it, if he could do it. So he did them the next day. And, with a guy like that, with a super raspy voice and trying to do a character that, he's done some stuff for us recently for some dolls and stuff, but this isn't something he does every day. And while that is mostly his regular voice, it's not his regular attitude. And so for him to pull that character out of his hat right after being sick, he's going to sound a little different. So it was him.
30 years older. Oh my God.
But he is 30 years older. But, all the time, the cool thing about Rick is that while he is historically a local Tucson radio personality, and that's why we have him, he's actually a national personality. He is the main voice actor for
lots of things.
It's not called Clear Channel anymore. It's called iHeartMedia. He's the main voice guy for iHeartMedia. So you will hear him on car commercials and anything and everywhere, radio, TV. So we get people all the time, why didn't I just hear the Postal Dude on my radio? And it's because you fucking did hear the Postal Dude on your radio, okay? So, and he's been, look, we know there's a history of him, coming and going, but that's, these are human beings, okay?
Right.
Rick not being there for Postal 3, good for him, because it wasn't him not being there that made that game suck balls. Corey came in, did a great job. Exactly. Corey came in, did a great job, and now he's part of the Postal brand. And Postal 4, something else was going on. We got John St. John. He did a great job too. But Rick's back. I'm sure you've seen in Postal 4, you have the ability to be all 4 Postal Dude voices, so cool. even Zach from the movie. So. We gave that ability, and I wouldn't say that's going to happen here. Postal 2 is Rick. So.
$20. Hi, gents. Just joined the chat. Eric, are we going to get a Gary Coleman sighting in Postal 2? Love him back in the day. We're going to get so many millions of these questions over the next.
Well, and I think it's safe to say that the idea of this product is that you are going to get the Postal 2 that was put out. Okay, we're not taking anything out. I mean,
it's not Postal 1.5.
As a studio, we're not sitting around milking Gary Coleman. He was in our games. We did do a tribute to him in Paradise Lost a few years back, because it was an add-on to Postal 2, and we wanted to do a tribute to him. But we're not going to take him out. He's part of that history. It is part of his lore. That said, people ask all the time, when are you going to make a Gary Coleman doll? And I'm like, ooh, yeah, I don't really want to make a doll. But as far as I'm concerned, he has to be in everything.
Agreed.
The game's going to be the game, guys. So we're not going to change the game. So if he's in the game, he's in the game, he's going to be in the VR version.
I just want to add, whenever Gary comes up, for all that he was such a high, they've always said he was the number 1 TV child star in history.
Yeah.
He was a nice guy. I mean, he had medical issues. I mean, that's a fact. And obviously some personality quirks, but who hasn't been arrested? You know what I'm saying? But
he did try to kick me in the balls once.
That's a high kick.
He was a sweet guy. I mean, he had a damn nice side to him, and it's sad what happened and tragic. But to anybody that ever would ask, he was a hell of a lot nicer than a lot of celebrities I've met that were not even close to as famous as Gary. And Gary was just like when you were with Gary in your living room and you're just hanging, whatever. And he could be a funny guy, just something out of the blue.
We have some fucking Gary stories, man. Holy!
Oh man, now I need to hear.
We didn't exactly hang out with him a lot. Like there was, 5-7 times, but every time it just, man,
it was just better than the previous.
Always had a good time with him, but to say that like he attracted drama is an understatement. Just like crazy shit happened around him, and it's fucking hilarious stuff. So
Gary came to my wedding.
Really? No way.
And I mean, whatever, age-wise, a little older, but he just was such a gentleman. He drove. It was here in Tucson. He drove out from L.A. and with a dear friend of his, a great girl named Anna, really a sweetheart, somebody that really cared for Gary, like legitimately, honestly, sincerely cared. And he came to the wedding, and he was, he's such a funny. I'm just thinking of it now. His wedding gift, he gave me a book, right? And I said, "Thank you, Gary." Whatever, I get a book. I'm like, cool. And then he goes, "No, open it." I'm like, "Well, okay, Gary, I got like 150 people." By the way, it was here in my house, Eric. I had
really? Wow.
Tents, DJ, live music, the whole bit. Anyway, what he did is in this book he gave me, he had like every other so many pages money.
Oh, no way.
$5, $10, $20, $100. So the whole book, you'd go like this, and it was all money.
Hilarious.
I mean, nice guy. He was big heart, little guy, big heart.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's actually how you ship cash.
Yeah, right. In books.
Put it in various pages of a magazine and ship a magazine.
It scares me a little that you know that.
Well,
it doesn't surprise me at all.
Just for the 500-foot view, we always have had to do multiple things in life to keep this shit going.
Always.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Just because running with scissors, I told you, just because running with scissors seems like a big deal. We are small.
This process, leading up to the launch is going to be, it's going to be super exciting, and we're super happy to bring it to every platform. Bringing Postal to VR, to PlayStation VR 2 was a must for us. We had to make sure that we go there with it to support that community, and then bring it to Meta, and then make sure we bring it to Steam. So we were super happy to be able to announce it to all platforms, which is important to us. We'll get to like letting you guys know what the plans are total with everything as we get closer. And you guys are going to be coming and hanging out with us at GDC. So anybody who's going to be out there at GDC, if you're media or if you're press and you want to talk to us or Mike or Vince, we will be out there for a few days, kind of talking to the industry and telling them about Postal 2 VR. Guys, thank you for coming on tonight. I appreciate it. I know it's getting late for you guys, and Vince, you're sick as a dog, but it's super cool. I love chatting about it. I literally, the stories that you could tell, I'd love to have you guys on again, because we just, even, throughout the time here when, we get you back in and talk more about, like, Vince, I've sat with you and just talked about old school gaming and the industry, going way back. I think you got a lot of cool things to talk about and tell, and that people would definitely love to hear. And you need to write a book.
Yeah.
Or two.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well,
sure.
Thank you so much for the invite. And I'm going to go make a pot of fucking tea.
Do it.
I got to get better, man. This has been a drag. This is real. This time, I don't know. But anyway, thanks so much, Eric. Todd, the best to you.
You as well.
Great having you on. See you tomorrow in the office.
I'll see you guys next week. I can't wait to hang out.
Thanks, boys. See you guys on Monday. Thanks to everybody.